Welcome to the 12 Days of Christmas Coping, brought to you by the Write or Die Show.
Hi there. My name is Mark Morton, and I'm the author, most recently, of this book called The Headmasters. It's a dystopian, post-apocalyptic young adult novel set in Northern Ontario, the Canadian Shield. And Randi-lee has asked me to make a video, part of her 12 Days of Christmas Coping series. And I'm very glad to do that because Christmas is a very stressful time. And what I would like to focus on are pets, because I grew up with pets. I've always had pets in my family, going back to when I was a child living on a farm in Saskatchewan. And I guess more recently too, the most important way that pets have been an important part of our family and a coping strategy for our family relates to this. Like, my wife and I adopted 4 kids when they were older, and we had 4 dogs. Now that might seem like a lot for freshly adopted older kids and 4 dogs in a household, and it was a lot. It was very challenging, but the great thing about those 4 dogs was that each one of our children sort of was able to adopt one of those dogs. And that was great because, dogs usually, if they're well treated, provide unconditional love. And that way, with each child being adopted and each child adopting, so to speak, one of the dogs, that was really, really great. In fact, I would say that having dogs in our house was maybe one of the top 3 things that made our adoption, made it go easier, I guess I would say. That and taking a lot of photographs and looking at photographs and sitting around the table at dinner time and lunchtime and talking to each other. Anyway, with regard to Christmas in particular, as I was saying, I think Christmas and probably lots of other events, birthdays, Thanksgiving, those can be very stressful. And I have always found dogs to be really great at those kinds of occasions, because the thing about dogs at those occasions is that they don't know it's somebody's birthday. They don't know that it's Christmas, and so they don't get stressed out like lots of family members do. They are just their regular selves. And because they're their regular selves, that means that people, me or other people in my family, can go to those dogs if things are getting stressful, or if they're feeling a bit overwhelmed. I'm an introvert, and so I often get kind of overwhelmed or overstimulated at these kinds of gatherings. And you can just sort of sit alone with one of the dogs, or in our case, 2 or 3 or 4 of the dogs. And they are very, very calming. They're very grounding because, as I said, they don't know there's a holiday. They are their usual loving selves. And there's something about looking into a dog's eyes. I think all of our dogs have brown eyes, but looking into those big brown eyes and petting them and seeing their tails wag and seeing how they are responding to us with by returning love is so great. That has gotten us through a lot of challenging, I mean, not challenging isn't the right word, but a lot of big events, a lot of stressful events and occasions. So, yeah, have pets. We don't have cats in our house. I like cats, but my wife is a bit allergic, and one of our daughters is allergic, so we can't have cats. We also have a rabbit, though, and until recently, we had a lovebird, which unfortunately passed away. And even the lovebird, the way it would sit on my shoulder or the shoulder of any of us was really, really great. It's wonderful to interact with other creatures. Yeah, so that's what I would suggest, is making connections with pets. If you have pets, your own pets, that's great. If not, maybe go over to somebody else's place and interact with their pets if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed. Now, I think the other thing that Randi-lee wanted us to do in these videos is talk about a a book that we would recommend. And I already mentioned the book that I've most recently written, The Headmasters. But I don't want to select my own book. So I'm trying to think of what other book I would suggest. And I mean, it's hard. It really is hard to beat at Christmas time Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. And, it's easy to find online. And maybe even better, there's lots of audio versions available online. On YouTube, if you just do a search for Christmas Carol audiobook, you'll find any number of people reading it. And of course, there's productions of the Christmas Carol that have been turned into a play, and TV versions as well. But I think it's hard to beat the original that was written by Dickens 150 some years ago. So that's the book that I would recommend. So I want to thank Randi-lee for this opportunity, and I hope that your Christmas holidays are not too stressful. And as I said, don't hesitate to connect with a pet, especially dogs. Thanks.
Thanks for watching the 12 Days of Christmas Coping. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly.